Hello, everybody. This is Rick Napier, the president at 321 Biz Development. Website 321bizdev.com. Telephone number 855-600-9911. 321 Biz Development is a consulting firm where we help business owners using the 321 BizDev sales system, which is helping small business owners maximize the 5 front-end sales activities, which include contacting, prospecting, appointment setting, closing, and getting zero-cost referrals. Today's podcast episode is about motivation versus skill building. And I know there are quite a few people, professionals out there in the industry that focus on motivational training. And you know their names. I don't need to mention them. If I do mention them, most of you will say, yes, I like him, I like her. And these people do well for their businesses, motivating people to strive to be better. So my podcast episode is not about them. It's really about skill building. And the only thing I have to say about motivational training is skill building must come first. Then motivational training takes over and helps enhance the skill building and the development of reaching your goal. The reason why I say that is because motivational training, by itself, it doesn't help a person get better. It may help a person feel better temporarily, but it doesn't help a person get better. It's almost like the person who watches a commercial, and the commercial is from a gym, advertising the great prices for people to get, to lose weight and to be physically fit. And the person says, wow, look at that person, that slim person, that muscular person lifting weights. Oh, she's so beautiful and he's handsome. And the person says, yes, I'm going to join the gym. And they join the gym and they go for about 2 days and they stop. Now, contrast that with a person who hires a fitness trainer. Okay. So you hire a fitness trainer and the fitness trainer says, I'm either coming to your place, that's in LA, or, you come to the gym, the place where we're going to, do the program. And the person has a choice. Now, most likely, if the person has hired a fitness trainer, they're going to show up because, fitness trainers are not cheap. And the person that is paying a fitness trainer, they are probably more serious than the person who pays the $29 a month at the gym. So the fitness trainer, works with that person, helps them exercise better, talks about diet, and let's say they meet 3 times a week. That person working with the fitness trainer will do better than the person who just looks at the advertisement on TV. So I use that example to just express the facts about skill building. You see, with 321 Biz Dev training, most of the people that we connect with, they have a burning desire to get better. And I'll tell you my short story as I end this podcast episode. Okay, so it was like 2009, 2010. I was about 8 years out of corporate America, working as a sales manager, pretty much the vice president of sales with 60 account executives in California. And my job was to sell group health insurance. And needless to say, I did well at it. We always hit our goals. We were in the top 3 of health insurance carriers in California. And so I ended up quitting because I was so burned out. I was working 80 hours a week, and the money was 6 figures, but it was just way too much work and stress. And those 60 account executives that I hired, they had to pass a psychological sales assessment test. So these people wanted to be in sales, and the only way they could get hired is if they passed the sales psychological assessment exam. The exam was about 30 to 45 minutes, and they had to answer questions, and based on the answers to their questions, it gave me a score. And if their score was higher than 85%, they were deemed to be qualified to apply for the job and get hired if they didn't have anything else against them, plus any positives that they may have had in their favor. So leaving corporate America, I figured out the hard way that corporate sales are not the same as independent sales. And when I say independent sales, I'm referring to people who are small business owners who have CPA practices, attorney law firms, dental practices, plastic surgery centers, insurance agencies, the independent insurance agencies, roofers, plumbers, people who sell products and services that are over $500, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000. So I stumbled a lot because when you are independent, you don't have the branding that the major corporation has. So when I worked in corporate, the company that I worked for had a well-known brand, and our competitors had a well-known brand. But when you are independent, and let's say your CPA practice is XYZ CPA, well, there are probably 500 CPA firms in the metropolitan area where you live. Your Seattles, your Fort Lauderdales, your Atlantas, your Phoenix, Los Angeles. Same thing with attorneys and dentists. So you don't have the power to rely on your brand. And many, I'm going to say so-called marketing experts will say, small business owner, you can develop your brand and grow your brand. That is absolutely false. If there are 500 other competitors in the metropolitan area, it will take a long time before people know who XYZ CPA firm is, when there are 499 other CPA firms in the metropolitan area. So, long story short, there were 2 to 3 people that helped me make the transition. And I didn't even know that I needed to make a transition. But I tell you what, I was failing not so much because of my technical knowledge. I was failing because I didn't have a system. So I would meet with a qualified prospect and not close. I would meet with another qualified prospect and close. And I had no idea why I didn't close with one prospect, and I converted the prospect to a client in the other situation. So that was very frustrating. And it wasn't until, and I'm going to plug these 2 people's names. One guy, his name is Harley Gordon, and he is a Boston elder law attorney. And he did a seminar in Berkeley, California, and I paid about $100 along with about 40 other people who paid to hear this guy talk about long-term care insurance sales. And what was surprising, he started his conversation by saying, you should not sell long-term care insurance. And it shocked all of us because we believed we were going to hear how to sell long-term care insurance from a person who works with people that probably should have purchased long-term care insurance before they met with the elder law attorney. And for folks who do not know, an elder law attorney is someone who tries to save or protects someone's assets when they need to qualify for Medicaid or Medi-Cal in California, and they have all these assets and they have to spend down these assets before they can get Medicaid help. So Harley Gordon was one of the key people that helped me. He said this, and I will never forget it. He said, he said, a person does not need long-term care insurance. And then he paused for 5 seconds. Then he said, until they need it. And when he said that, I may have been the only person in the room who understood what he meant, because coming from corporate America, there are some philosophies and some, and things that you come to realize, even working at a Fortune 500 company, that maybe someone else may not see, because of it's working in sales is not something you just wake up in the morning and you get started and you are successful. You have to go through these epiphanies. So the second person was a software engineer in Silicon Valley who sold his stocks and opened an insurance company. And his insurance company sold long-term care. And I was hired because I was a good producer in one part of Northern California, and he wanted to hire me for his San Francisco office. So I met with him, and he said there's a 5-day training. Long story short, there was this book that he gave all the trainees, and we had to follow the steps in the book. And one of the training exercises was to pick up the phone and call all these wealthy people in San Ramon, Walnut Creek, Pleasanton, San Jose, and the rest of the San Francisco Bay Area. And I stumbled for the first time about calling people who were wealthy. And it's not that, I was making 6 figures in my corporate job. I'm talking $150,000, $160,000 in my corporate job. And this is in the late 1990s and early 2000s. So I was doing very well income-wise, but I had never had to call an individual, on the phone. It was always B2B sales. So long story short, I stayed there for about 3 months. The commute was killing me. It was, 90 miles from Sacramento. And although I used to work in the Bay Area, that commute was just killing me. So I went back to my regular function as an independent agent back in the Sacramento area. But he gave me this book. And this book had some critical steps in it about a sales system. So his book was a sales system. I ended up taking about 20% of the information in his book and used it to create the 321 BizDev sales system. And there was one section in that book that Mike, that was his name, Mike gave me, that just turned my whole sales experience around. I can't tell you what it is on this podcast episode, but if you become a 321 BizDev sales system trainee or client, you will know how you can get an 80% probability of closing using something called the prospect interview form. When you're sitting down meeting with a prospect and your goal is to convert that prospect to a client, I'll just tell you, 90%, in my opinion, 90% of small business owners fumble in that phase. They fumble. They don't know what to do. They're grasping for straws, just like I fumbled when I did not close a client, and then 2 weeks later, I closed a client and didn't even know how I did it. And that's very frustrating when you don't know how you close, or you don't know why you didn't close. That is probably the most profound thing in sales, is to receive results and you don't know how you did it. My name is Rick Napier, the president at 321 Biz Development. Again, website 321bizdev.com.